Hey you guys, how are you? I'm good. I'm bringing good tidings. No, I'm not. I'm not really bringing good tidings, but I'm thinking about this. Tidings. I'm thinking about frequencies. So super crazy intense energy lately, guys. Like, I can hardly stop myself from channeling and creating like shit, even if it's the dumbest shit. So, well, how are you guys? Did I ask that already? I'm thinking about frequencies, sounds, and vibrations. I'm thinking about resonance, and I wasn't trained in the right terminology, but I'm talking about vibration and the way that word sounds because I don't know about etymology. I'm not an expert in that. So that has to do with like the origin of language and things like this, okay? So obviously I'm not trained, I'm not a professional in that way, but I'm thinking about the sounds of things and I'm thinking good tidings. Good tidings to you, right? The Christmas song. What is that? What's the tide? The tide goes in and out, right? The tide doesn't stay. It changes. It's always moving. And so when someone brings tidings, it's news from an outside source, you know? And so further and further I'm channeling. I can't remember exactly what. Excuse me, guys. I can't remember exactly what triggered this, but anyway, I've got this hydration going on. I feel better. I can feel when I get foggy, I drink water and I can feel the oxygen going straight to my brain. It feels like, honestly, like kind of when I mumble and chatter like this in my videos, I'm working the energies out to them and feeling them, right? Attuning to them. And that's what I was doing with words and sounds of words. And I was thinking about tidings that come in and out. Or if I was to bring tidings from someone, you know? And then I was thinking about titles, right? So, well, when we're born, we are what we are, right? Like it starts from childhood. There's no programming there. Well, not, okay, we can just say you're born and there's no programming to simplify things, okay? So, so, it's the energy, guys. It's high. It's high. Fuck. So, you are what you are in name, and then we come as a civilization, as a society, and we try to have some order, right? We have order so that we can live civilized in society. And with that comes titles. So then we take a name of a person and we put a title on it, something from outside, on something. So what you are, you can only be what you are, unique, really truly one of a kind, really truly unique, you know, whether you like it or not. More times we are more aware of the ways that we would rather not be unique, but the truth is we can't even understand the way that source energy resonates with our vessel and our being and our ideas, so we're all so unique. And then in society, like, we gain titles like Mrs. or Mr. My title, it could be CEO, or it could be manager. I could be head librarian, or I could be, what's another title, guys? Titles, I mean, they're everywhere, right? And basically what we're doing is we're adding a prefix to a name and saying this person's energy for some time is redirected into what this title represents. for society's sake, for things to work out. So in that way, a title is a redirecting of a human's energy, of a person, what you are in name, okay? And titles are necessary. That's my son or my daughter. We have titles for very good reasons, right? I'm not saying anything against them. But what I'm saying is that sometimes when we accumulate all these different titles for the different spaces that we operate in the world, we could start to resonate more with those things, right? And I'm thinking about like boundaries, proper boundaries, like with the person's sense of self, and just kind of where they're budgeting their energy so that we can live satisfying lives that are tailored just uniquely for us, right? So, and then I'm thinking about titles and the way that energy gets redirected into these titles. And then I started realizing about people who are entitled. So if a person is entitled to something, if you feel you're entitled to a thing for some reason that you imagine, okay, there's a very specific vibration of entitlement. You feel like you're entitled. I am entitled. You know, we work and we make certain contractual agreements with one another, like super legally or just verbally, you know, depending on what space you're operating in societally. So, well, as soon as we start dealing with the word entitled, then it brings tidings of an entity, because you now see the title. Entitled, that's an entity. So there's an entity, small or large, the entity of misters, the entity of librarians, the entity of insert entitle. Okay, so apart from what you inherently are, apart from your essence, your soul, what you truly are, apart from that, I was born Carol. Okay, so apart from Carol, then I would have a title like mother. Okay, and as a mother, I may feel entitled to my children's attention, a certain level of respect. Okay, as the entity of mother in society, culturally, as a caretaker, for us to operate in certain spaces, we have agreed upon measures. And so I think I am entitled, you see? But there are all different kinds of entities in the world. So because then we can look at the word title again as still a something that's outside of oneself, like the title for a car, for a vehicle, right? So if you have the title for the vehicle, then the vehicle is yours. The title says so, but the title is apart from the vehicle. So think of the vehicle as your name, and then the title that's placed outside of yourself. So if I have the title to my vehicle, I alone get to mitigate what goes on with that, right? I choose. I am the title holder, right? I am entitled. So some entities, though, there are agreements that we have to make. We live in a society. We live and operate with one another. And I am ultimately, these are challenging, maybe edgy ideas that I speak of, but ultimately I'm looking to create a safe space to be, and I like boundaries, to be clear. And I'm thinking about sounds and resonance factors, because I also in other areas of my life, like my tarot areas, my manifestation activation videos, for instance, I work with sacred geometry and frequency activation. So I think of frequencies and I see them in my mind's eye, and I feel them with my clairsentience, you understand? And I'm looking to put words to share these ideas with you guys. So when there's an entity and when somebody feels entitled, we should remember that they feel through some sort of contractual agreement that they are in charge. And if a person is so entitled to a point where you're thinking of the word entitled, because it's a resonance, we feel somebody tugging on our energy, like feeling entitled to something from you, right? And then you need to put the word to it. And so if you are noticing that somebody's entitled, feeling like they're entitled for ideas that they have, that you may or may not share with them, may or may not have agreed, I would suggest asking yourself why it got to a point, because there's not a resonance there. If you find yourself using the word entitled, understanding the feeling of entitlement from an outside entity and understanding like that they're essentially acting as debtors to you, right? So these entities, as soon as you're using this word entitled, it's time to question that entity's place in your life. You may have just resonated out of that frequency. You may be vibrating at a higher level to where you are recognizing something that isn't in alignment with you, but is feeling entitled to that. So this is where you check, recheck, and reevaluate who you are in name, what your principles and values are, and where the things that align to you are, those are your safe spaces. Anything that brings up this word entitled is attached to an entity, is attached to something outside of yourself, like how the tides go in and out, something that is not stable, that is not foundational, that you cannot depend on. Everything that you need for your unique self is within you. You could just sit and stare out the window, and your magic, I'm feeling it come out of my throat, because my magic is in my words, and I'm feeling my own magic, and I know that you have yours. And that's what you are in name, as I am Carol in name. So who you are in name is much more valuable here in the world than any title you could hold. And furthermore, remember that titles are things that come in and out, that they change is constant. It's the only constant, like the tides, okay? It all depends on Mother Moon. So let's keep our mom happy and understand what we are. So we need to be anchored in who we are and understand and grace ourselves with the gift of being able to put a label to it and be like, this entity now, because you may not be able to resonate so much with these outside entities that you really can't relate. They are now entities. They've lost their individuality. They've lost their names, and they're looking for yours. So when we think about these things and observe them and spend time together like this, it's almost like a domino effect, and it automatically will bring it to your awareness. Maybe where some entities are no longer in alignment for your highest and greatest good. Because if you're here with me, it's because it's for your highest and greatest good, of course. I mean, what else, right? So let's have some hydration, guys. That was a mouthful, huh? So, well, I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.